FBI is still refusing to call the horrific attack at Vaughan Foods in Moore, Oklahoma recently an act of terrorism. And even though the district attorney in Cleveland County is seeking the death penalty for the accused killer, Alton Nolan, the DA still calls the beheading of one coworker and the stabbing of another an isolated case of a disgruntled worker. But the people I talk with in Oklahoma are not afraid to call it as they see it, telling me all the signs are there that this was clearly a terrorist killing. In fact, some companies are so concerned that they're reevaluating their own security and seriously considering allowing their employees to carry a firearm while on the job so they can protect themselves and their fellow employees when every second counts. Just like Mark Vaughan, an off-duty reserve deputy, did that tragic day. Take a look.
It's a major wake-up call.
We know that he's loose. He has stabbed someone.
It's here. Evil is here.
It sounds like he's running around out here.
Okay.
And that's a gunshot.
Here in the Heartland, it did hit this close to home.
Lock that door.
Everybody in there if you can.
Yeah, we're trying.
There were multiple attempts by multiple people to stop this attack. They tried chairs, they tried kicking.
But chairs are not a good defense against a knife.
Mark Vaughan, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Vaughan Foods and is also a reserve deputy, confronted Nolan and shot him and stopped the threat and the assault that was taking place.
It's just beyond belief that someone amongst us could do something that horrific.
Mark Vaughan is absolutely a hero.
Mark's response saved that lady's life. Mark's response saved other lives because he wouldn't have stopped there, and law enforcement wasn't present yet.
I think we'd be looking at mass casualties instead of just one person.
Isn't it interesting, though, that the anti-gun crowd is not saying much because he used a knife? The point is, anytime you take your employees and you disarm them, you're a sitting duck. I'm telling you, Jenny, this political correctness is going to kill us. These things are going to happen more frequently.
There's some debate, workplace violence, terrorism. Why won't the FBI call it terrorism?
This was far more than workplace violence. To me, this was actually a statement that what we have seen on the national news over the last few months with ISIS, it's come home. Absolutely, it's come home.
You can't sugarcoat this. This was an act of terrorism. Nobody's fooled here.
My understanding is that he was using some Arabic terms during the attacks. Obviously, there was some sort of infatuation with beheading. I mean, that's obvious from the Facebook post.
Information was obtained that he recently started trying to convert some of his coworkers to the Muslim religion.
Other than that, it seems to be an isolated incident being triggered by his having been suspended earlier in the day.
We've watched the media, we've watched our own law officials. The people in the community have actually said, do they think we're so stupid that we can't connect the dots? This is obviously a terrorist act. Now, we don't know whether he's connected to another organized terrorist group, but do you have to be a terrorist? So our group in the House of Representatives said, well, we're going to speak the truth and calling it what it is.
It's more than just wrong. It's extremely dangerous. When you lure people into a false sense of security, it's no different than putting a concealed carry sticker that you don't want any firearms on your store. They're definitely not prepared.
Most workers absolutely cannot count on their employer to protect them. They're kidding themselves.
They're feeling like victims.
I think the lesson that was learned in Moore, Oklahoma is that lives can be saved when people are allowed to carry a firearm with training.
The American workplace is a very dangerous place because employers are so afraid. Litigation, liability. So yes, employers better start thinking.
Policy doesn't trump the law, and policy doesn't trump the Constitution. It's the other way around.
We've got to strengthen our legal system to allow what the Constitution declares that we have in the Declaration of Independence. We have unalienable rights.
The subject of workplace
carry has been on everyone's lips and minds. The employees are asking the employers, and what are you going to do different? If this can happen in a reception area of a big company like that, what could happen in a small company that's even less protected?
I've gotten several calls from businesses in the state, a local bank, a hospital in the southwest part of the state, a family-owned manufacturing company. They've all called and said they're absolutely realizing that why not take advantage of the fact you may have someone who's got some training and has a firearm, whether it be a manager that has a carry license or an employee that has a carry license and is willing to help protect their coworkers or stop someone that's doing violence at the workplace.
Being a realtor can be one of the most dangerous jobs, just like what we've dealt with the realtor that lost her life in Arkansas. You're putting yourself out there for the people's needs, but you do not know the people. I always have my gun with me.
In my church on Sunday mornings, there are probably so many people carrying that if anyone tried anything, they'd look like Swiss cheese.
Oh, I feel much safer here at Trinity because I know that we have trained people that can protect us.
We have the thought process of what we would do in a circumstance, and we can work together to make sure that nothing like what happened at Moore, Oklahoma will happen at Trinity Baptist Church.
I'd be willing to bet you that every chief of police or sheriff in this country would be willing to sit down with any business and work with them in providing training to their employees about how to respond to a threat and be capable of responding at a moment's notice.
The thing that upsets me still to this day is all of these so-called gun-free zones.
I don't think that gun-free zones are an answer to the problem at all.
Gun-free zones are victim zones.
That just blows my mind that you would be in a situation that you can't protect yourself and you're telling other people that there are no firearms on this property.
I work in a gun-free zone, so that's always a topic. Workplace safety and how fast can we get security down here if we need them. A lot of hospitals rely on the male nurses to be their first line of defense.
I think it's a crime that we've allowed ourselves to become disarmed all over the country in front of people who have no care for life or the well-being of others.
If we don't wake up, we're done for. We're finished.
I think the more people know about the concealed carry license, the more people know about training, the fewer gun-free zones we'll have.
I went to a movie theater, and as soon as I walk up to the door, I see the no concealed sticker. And so the movie manager came out, and I spoke with him, and I said, I tell you what, and I named the name of a firearms company that has concealed carry courses. You can go down there and go to the first half of the class free. You get to listen to the attorneys, you get to listen to the sheriff. If you're not completely and totally convinced that concealed carry holders are not your threat, they're your biggest ally, that's fine. I'll never come here again. I went back there about a month or two later, and sure enough, all the stickers on the doors had been removed. To me, that speaks volume.
You always hope that something good comes out of everything, as bad as it might be. And here, maybe one good thing that can come of it is that it does start a conversation.
People need to use their voice, and they need to voice their concerns
about how to incorporate licensed carry into a plan that a company might have for protecting its employees.
Sadly, our citizens at times have a short memory, but we ought to be preparing for the next horrific event so citizens will have an opportunity, just like Mark Vaughan, to save a life or be a hero just by protecting others.
I look at it as my right, my opportunity, and I will carry.